Hello, my name is Brittany D. I am a psychic medium and spiritual teacher. My divine purpose is to assist in the expansion of the collective consciousness and to help you become more connected with the divine. This is a space to remember all that you truly are and ignite the possibilities of your highest potential. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so grateful to have you here with me in this present moment. Today, I am so excited to be interviewing one of my dearest friends. Her name is Annamaria Love. And today she is going to be sharing her venture with us through her cancer experience and how she healed herself holistically. I am so excited to hear about this myself. I have not been able to hear this story yet. Although we spend much time together, I still have not heard this story. And I just knew that it would be good for you all to hear what her experience was as well. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here today, Anna. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. It really gives me so much joy to share this space with you, and thank you for offering your space for me.
Of course. All right, so take us on the journey, dear. How did this happen? What? Let's go.
It's just, I was living in Costa Rica actually at the time, and I was with my ex-husband who I was with for 10 years. And it wasn't a very good relationship. And while in Costa Rica, I felt like something was off with my body. And in Costa Rica, I went and got checked and was told that I had C. difficile, which is a bacteria from eating some foods in Costa Rica. And so I'm not one to take antibiotics, and I never knew anything about this C. difficile. And so when I did my research, I found out that if you don't take care of it immediately, you could create a hole in your colon and you could die. And so I ended up taking, with much reserve, I took the antibiotics only because I was in Costa Rica and I didn't have my resources. And I found out that I was still bleeding from my colon at that time.
Oh, wow.
And it scared me. And I was on the verge of leaving my ex anyway. And so I said, I'm just going to go back to Canada, and because that's where originally I'm from, and just get tested and see what I need to do from there. And so when I went back to Canada, I did a test, and again, they said I had C. difficile, but something in my body just kept telling me, no, it's something more. There's something off. This is just not it. And I asked for a colonoscopy, and my doctor was like, well, you're too young for anything like that. And it's not in your family to be in, cancer. So we're just not going to do that. And I was like, oh my gosh, why? Like, I want to do this test, and she's like, no, let's just do another round of antibiotics and see from there.
Oh my goodness.
And again, I don't take antibiotics. So for me, this was like a big thing because I didn't know about the C. difficile. And so I took another round of antibiotics, and I actually came to Louisville to visit my brother because he was living here at that time. And I took a month off of my life just to kind of regroup and reconnect with myself after leaving my 10-year marriage, and also knowing that something was off within my body. So I came to Louisville and
going within.
Yeah, I just came to Louisville. My brother was within different spaces. So I had his apartment all to myself, and I just did yoga and really reflected back on my relationship and kind of like went within to find myself again, because I had lost myself with my relationship. And then I just stayed a month, and I said, okay, I'm going to call my doctor. I'm still bleeding. Something is off. And I demanded a colonoscopy, and she agreed. She set up the appointment, went back to Canada.
Wait, so at this point, how long had you been bleeding for?
A good 2 months.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, a good 2 months. But like,
I cannot imagine.
Yeah, but in my mind, I'm like, I know something is off, but they're saying it's C. difficile, and it'll be easily fixed with antibiotics. And because I wasn't familiar with C. difficile, even though I studied holistic nutrition, C. difficile was not in my scope of learning. Like, I never learned anything about it. So I was like, I don't know how to deal with this. So I'm just going to do the antibiotics, and I don't want a hole in my colon. And so I did it anyway. And then after that, I noticed I was still bleeding, and something's going on. I need to do the colonoscopy. I want to check. So finally she did, and I went and did the test. And sure enough, they told me I had colon cancer. Yeah, so at that point...
Oh, I just got chills all down my legs. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Our bodies are always speaking to us. They are talking to us and trying to tell us, oh, gosh, I'm so glad that you continue to trust and be like, nope, I demand this.
Yes. It's super important for us to really listen to our bodies and connect to what's going on, because our bodies give us messages. So it's really important to tap into that and listen. Because we know what our body's best.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And doctors are not always right.
Yeah. And even like it just made me think of like, I've had friends be like, like, oh no, it's just that. And I'm like, dude, please don't try and tell me what I know my body. Like, this is my vessel. I know, and it took a while to get to that place in my life where I trust, to hear my body instead of relying on things outside of myself, like to really hear and be like, no, this is, really listen to my body and like seeing it almost as its own entity speaking to me, know?
Sure.
Okay, so go on.
So, of course, being a holistic nutrition and living a lifestyle of like no use of chemicals, eating organically, just eating healthy and doing yoga and practicing meditation, I'm like, how the hell did this happen? How did I get cancer? And of course, shame came over me and I was like, how did this come? Like, what happened? What did I do wrong? I'm doing everything right that I'm supposed to, according to like my lifestyle and what I've learned. Right. And I just sat with those feelings for a couple of days. And then I realized, okay, I need to dig deep to find out why this happened and how am I going to heal from this? How am I going to move beyond this? And so I was scheduled to do a colonoscopy. No, not the colonoscopy, the surgery, because it was causing blockage. So I had to do the surgery. The tumor was causing the blockage. And so we scheduled in for, I think 25 days later, I was scheduled in for surgery. And so I did the surgery. They removed the large tumor. And of course, they go through the details how I could end up with a bag. And in my mind, I'm thinking,
what do you mean a bag? What do you mean?
The colonoscopy bag. Not the colonoscopy bag. I forgot the word for it. It's where, like, if you can't go to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
You have to have a bag next to your body.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I forgot the term for it, but I was like, oh, my God, how am I going to live my life? I'm very active. I hike, I bike, practice yoga, I go to the gym. How am I going to live my life beyond this if I have to have a bag? And it all depends on how close to the anus the tumor is and if they have to remove it. And so, of course, all this nervous energy and anxiety came over me. And he told me this just before I was going into the operating room.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I had to sign a waiver that he told me this. And so I'm thinking, oh, my God, tears roll down my face. And I'm getting onto the bed and I'm just shaking and crying, thinking, oh, my God, like, what is happening here? Like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, like this is real. Like,
yeah. And so as tears are rolling down my face, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I need to calm down. And I'm just going to repeat my mantra, So Hum, which is the very first mantra that I learned when I was going through deep anxiety attacks and depression. So I just repeated in my mind, So Hum, as I breathe deep.
Oh, mantras are so powerful.
Right? Yes.
And they have literally changed my life.
Yes.
Created miracles, just repeating mantras.
Yeah. So in my mind, as I breathed in, I said, so, and as you breathe out, hum, really slow and deep. And this means I am that. And of course, whatever you choose to put after that is up to you. And so as I'm repeating the mantra and breathing deeply, all of a sudden my body just, like, I was gone. I was under. With the anesthesia. And that's all I remember is just repeating the So Hum in my mind. And of course, when I woke up, they wanted to put me on some heavy medication. And I said, no, I don't want any medication, because I woke up and threw up they had initially had me on morphine.
Oh, yeah.
And I woke up and I immediately threw up because that kind of stuff just does not sit well with me.
Oh, yeah. No, me neither. I can't even hardly take a Tylenol anymore. Yeah, anything like that.
Exactly, yes.
My body's like, nope.
Yes. Exactly.
I feel I feel worse than I did before I took it. Like, whenever I'm trying to fix or whatever, or make myself feel better. It's a headache or whatever it may be. My body's like so pissed at me that it's like even worse. Oh, yeah, it just doesn't work anymore.
And so because my body wasn't used to taking that kind of stuff for pain, I threw up. And because they went in through my stomach for the surgery, the pain was so excruciating. And I'm like, no more. Do not put any of that stuff in my IV anymore because I don't want it. And they're like, well, you need to, in order for you to heal properly, you need to have medication and be comfortable. And I had brought already a homeopathic remedy with me to take, arnica.
Oh, I love arnica. That shit is magic.
And it really worked. I took arnica the whole time.
Yeah.
I did not take
especially for surgeries. Arnica is amazing.
I had taken it the night before going to bed. And I thought I was going to be super nervous and not be able to sleep. But I took the arnica and I slept well, surprisingly, because I typically don't. Slept well. And then I took it after, as soon as I woke up and I threw up and I felt a little bit better, I took the arnica again. And that's all I took for pain throughout the whole time.
Oh my gosh, girl. Wow.
Yeah.
Trooper.
Oh, I can't take any of those medications because it just does not sit well. Even the antibiotic did not sit well with me. Like I can immediately tell that my body was really trying to fight it, you know? And so, then, so I took the arnica, and then a few days later, I guess the surgeon took a biopsy of my tumor, and he took lymph nodes, and he told me that he realized that it had spread to my lymph nodes after taking the lymph nodes.
So just to be clear, sorry, I'm not really good with medical stuff. A biopsy is like a scan kind of a thing?
A biopsy is where they take the tumor, take the lymph nodes, and test them.
Oh, okay.
Test them to see if it's positive with cancer.
Got it.
So he took lymph nodes and he found out it did go past my colon wall, and I did have positive cancer DNA in the lymph nodes. And so, of course, he's like, you need to do chemo. And I'm going to send you to a specialist who deals with this, I guess the oncologist.
Okay.
Went to see the oncologist, and she said, you need to do chemo. You have a 60% chance of survival with chemo. And in my mind, I had already decided that I was not going to do chemo. My whole body rejects chemo. Like my whole body just said, hell
absolutely not.
No. And of course, she looked at me like I was crazy and said, you have a 60% chance with chemo. You're not going to be able to do it without chemo. And I said, watch me.
Oh, boom.
Yeah, she just was like, you're crazy. Please go home and think about it. And I said, there's nothing to think about. Like, I've already decided. Like, the moment the surgeon said, you possibly have to do chemo, in my mind, I was already like set that I had already made that decision that I was not going to do chemo. And I had to fully because there's no evidence of like healing holistically, even though I know there are cases, there's not enough evidence showing that healing holistically from cancer is not an option. But that's because the pharmaceutical companies won't allow the studies or won't allow
or hide it.
Yeah, they hide it. Exactly. And
talk about courage. I see you, girl.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I was scared. Like I had a 5% feeling in me thinking, am I doing the right thing? You know, I'm scared, but it wasn't strong enough. My desire to heal naturally was super, super strong. And so I stood strong in that. And I did not allow
the truth.
I didn't allow the fear to like, you know, come into my space. Of course, I felt the fear, you know, in moments, but I didn't allow it to take over my body or control me in any way.
Right. Human stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. And so then after that, so obviously she sent the info back to my family doctor and said she declined chemo. She sent the info to my oncologist. No, not to my surgeon, to my doctor who did the colonoscopy, and they all called me.
Right. Spread the news. She's not going to do it. We got to get her to do it.
Yeah. They all called me and tried to convince me to do the chemo. And I just said, no, it's just, I can't. I can't do it. It's just not, my whole body is rejecting it. It's not for me. I'm going to do it my way. You know, I've never, like you, never taken a Tylenol for a headache, and I'm not about to, you know, put this toxic chemical in my body. And granted, it may work for some, and for some it may feel right for them. And I always say, like, clients come to me now and say, you know, should I do the chemo? And I never, ever tell them not to do the chemo. It's not my place to tell them. I always say, honor what feels true and right for your body. And for me, that was the case. It just, chemo was not for me. And I also had friends beg me. I had one friend, she's like, I love you. Please don't be upset with me, but I beg you, please do the chemo. And I said, I love you for really caring about me, but please, you need to trust that I know what's right for me and my body.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And I had people say, I'm following your journey. I want to see the outcome of what's going on with this. Like, it was stage 3 colon cancer.
Holy shit.
And so they're like, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. And
honestly, I probably would have thought you were a little crazy too.
Well, yeah.
Stage 3? Yeah.
And then during the process, I started to share, because some people are like, you need to share this. And I started to share on Facebook. And then I've had so many people reach out to me. Like, this one guy reached out to me because his wife was going through cancer. And I was truly like smiling and really handling it in a positive way. I didn't allow it to affect me, like to affect my emotional state. Even though, of course, I did have moments of darkness, you know, but it really showed me what I was made of. It really showed me who I was. And it really showed me how to move beyond that darkness, you know? And so I had this one guy, he reached out to me. He's like, my wife is going through cancer, and I see how positive you're handling this. And can you talk to her? Because she's just at home in the corner, like just at home in her room, like depressed, and please talk to her.
Breaking down. Yeah, literally.
And of course, like, I was always willing to talk to whoever I can to help and assist in any way that I can, because we're all in this together. Cancer is not, it doesn't discriminate. And then obviously when I really found out, when I did the work and I found out, like, how did this happen? How did this transpire in my body when I was doing everything right? Because my dad then said to me, see, I don't have to eat healthy. You got cancer, you eat healthy. That like really hurt me, because I'm like, oh my God, like everything that I've been saying, you know, is just
preaching. Yeah. Just blew up in my face.
But had I not been eating healthy and my body wasn't in a good, strong state, I may not have been able to fight this
yourself.
Yeah. Like I may not have been able to fight this cancer the way I did, you know? So, that's the outcome that I share with people, is like, your body needs to be in optimal state, so that if something does show up, then you have a fighting chance, you know? And with my dad, you know, he actually was diagnosed with cancer now recently. He's going through it. It's been a year. And when he was first told that he needed to do chemo, he asked me, what should I do? And again, I said, Dad, you need to dig deep and ask, connect to God and see, you know, what is it that's right for you? And you need to make that decision. And he chose not to do chemo as well. So he's following in the same footsteps that I did. Yeah.
What kind of cancer does he have?
Stomach cancer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He actually had 80% of his stomach removed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. He's a trooper. He's a strong guy. He's, you know, doing all the positive things that I did, you know, throughout the healing. So, yeah.
Our minds are powerful.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's a huge contribution. Yeah. Okay. So you started, like, what exactly did you do to, like, what are the things that you used? And I understand the positive thinking, but was there any, like, you know, actual herbs or like things that you used for your body?
Yes, absolutely. So every cancer is different. So it's really important. Like I do get calls sometimes saying, well, what's the one thing that you took that healed you? And there is no one thing. Healing from cancer truly is a mind, body, spirit thing. So it's really important to heal all those aspects, because it's all connected.
Right.
And so, yes, the mind and the spirit part, like the meditating, that's all part of it. But in reference to like your body, I needed to detox. So I did a very deep herbal cleanse, an Ayurvedic herbal cleanse. So I started off with that. And then I took supplements. I was on a vegan diet, no animal products at all. I was very strict. I was taking low sugar, like even certain fruits that are high in sugar. I eliminated all of those. So that I was doing vegan, very strict diet, nothing, like I wasn't cheating at all. Like, you know, on a regular basis, even as a holistic nutritionist, of course I cheat. I don't expect anyone to be perfect. And I'm by far perfect. I definitely cheated in my diet, but during healing of cancer, it was really, really crucial to be on a very strict diet. And of course, the vegan diet was right for me. Whether it might be right for someone else, it depends. It depends on the type of cancer, depends on their body composition and what works for their biomechanics of their body. So that, and then I did infrared sauna. I sat in an infrared sauna every day.
What is that? What does that do?
So
interesting.
Yeah, the infrared sauna heats the body from the inside. And so when there's a virus or even cancer cells,
I can't live in the heat.
Exactly. But it's your internal body has to be raised to a certain temperature and infrared can reach that.
Wow.
So I sat in that and I remember sitting in infrared sauna and I would just either cry or I'd meditate or I would recite positive affirmations like my body is strong and in optimal health. I love and accept my body, like things like that. I would repeat to myself as I'm sitting in this, you know,
bacon, basically.
Yeah, by myself, of course, with my thoughts and thinking like, and then gratitude for my body and how strong I am, you know, for my mind and how I'm handling this, you know. So infrared sauna. And what else did I do? Yoga, of course, every day, meditation. I did tapping and for emotional freedom technique. You know, I did that. What else did I do? I'm trying to think of all the things that I did. That was part of it. And just like engaging in activities, like keeping busy. Like I actually did a Thai yoga massage course during that. I don't practice it right now, but it was very healing for me because I was giving and receiving energy during my healing. You know, so it was good to engage in things and just like keep busy instead of like staying home and wallowing.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I really just kept super busy doing positive things that just raised my vibration. And I spent lots and lots of time in nature, you know, hiking and just walking with my feet on the earth and just really connecting back to source and Mother Earth and just really coming back to myself because with my marriage, I had lost myself and learning to love myself again. And so through the work that I did, I discovered that, and what I truly believe is that the cancer showed up because emotions that you don't deal with or you think you dealt with, but really you didn't, get stored in your DNA. And it could be even ancestral. But for me, I know that it was my personal emotional stuff that was stored in my DNA, in my cells. And so through the work that I did, I discovered that I was harboring emotions of, you know, not worthy enough. And this is because I had infertility issues with my ex-husband. And because of those infertility issues and the mental abuse that I was dealing with my ex, I not only lost myself, but I also lost my self-worth. And I blamed myself. I didn't forgive myself for not being able to conceive and not producing a child. I'm like, well, I'm not good enough. And I thought I let those go, but I didn't.
Right.
And it really, really surfaced, you know, when I did the work. And you think you do the work, you know, because you're doing yoga and meditating, but really like it takes layers and layers of like deep, deep work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I did that during my cancer and that's what I discovered. And I truly believe that that's how it manifested is through stored emotions on a cellular level.
Piling up. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I did Brandon Bay's work. Do you know Brandon Bay? So actually, when I heard her story, it was exactly pretty much like mine. Like when I heard her speak, I was like, oh my God, that's me. She was Tony Robbins' right-hand woman. She did the health and lifestyle portion of Tony Robbins, I guess, seminars. And when she shared her story, she had a tumor sitting on top of her organs in her stomach that was crushing her organs. And she was told she needed to do surgery and chemo. And she was like, no, I'm not doing that. And she kept saying, how did this happen? Like, the guilt came over her too. You know, she's like, I did everything right. You know, how did this happen?
Right.
You know,
been there.
yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's me. And so what she did was she created this program called The Journey. And it's really about like getting to the cellular level of your emotions and uncovering stuff that comes up. And so I did a weekend workshop with her. And it really, really was truly, truly powerful. The stuff that just surfaced that I thought, and not just like about the infertility and the stuff I was holding on to with my ex, but like past stuff, like that I thought, oh my God, I thought I got rid of that.
Yeah, I thought I was over that a long time ago.
Right? Yeah. And it just surfaces. And I just put in the work and really got rid of that and learned how to love myself again.
The work is worth it.
Yes, definitely. And you really have to. Like, some people think, oh, I'll just take this vitamin and everything will be fine.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not like that. And I always tell my clients as well, it's like, I can tell you what to eat and how to do it and all that stuff, but it's up to you to go home.
Yep.
You know, and then put in the work.
That's coaching, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I can literally map it all out for you and have it as pretty displayed as, you know, like, but you have to be the one that actually does it. And that's the only way it works.
Yeah.
So doing all of this work, all these different ways, it sounds like a whole array of, you know, just kind of following your intuition, it sounds like, and just doing what you felt called. How long did it take for you to heal from cancer?
Oh, actually, there's one more thing that I need to add. I also did, and I don't know how I forgot this, but this is truly important. I did vitamin C intravenous.
What's that mean?
So vitamin C, you can get it in a liquid form, which is more potent, very high potency, and you get it injected in your arm through IV. Okay. And so I was doing that 3 times a week. I also injected myself with mistletoe, which is a plant. Not the mistletoe that, like, you know, at Christmas where you know, the kissing one. It's actually a very potent plant that actually fights cancer cells. Huh. Yeah. And so I injected myself in my stomach with that needle. Wow. 3 times a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So those are the 2 things that I also did in part of my like regimen of healing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just real quick before we get to how long this time period was this a lot of this stuff and this information stuff that you knew from your holistic healing, you know, or I shouldn't say practice, but your training and your schooling, or was this stuff that you researched as you went, or how, like, what was kind of the balance of that?
Yeah, majority of it was through my own self-study, because I'm that type of person that is like into self-healing in every way that I can. And so I constantly am learning.
Girl, I feel you.
I like, since I was 21, actually, I healed myself from serious anxiety attacks. I was homebound for an entire year. And obviously the doctors, they just put me on drugs. I tried to commit suicide while under the influence of those drugs. And then that was the end point where I'm like, I need to change something. And that's how I found yoga and meditation, is through that experience. And so since I was 21, I just constantly studied and learned and learned. I took courses upon courses. I just wanted to learn.
I feel you.
Yeah. Especially after I found that I was able to like get over this anxiety attacks. Like it was so bad. I would never wish this upon anyone. Like, to be stuck at home at 20 years old because you're afraid of having an attack in front of people. Like, it sucked. I would not wish that upon anyone. And so because I got over that and I healed myself from that, I was just very interested in like the holistic lifestyle and how to heal your body and how the mind, body, spirit works in connection, you know, and the alchemy of healing that, you know. And so I just learned a ton in school. And then, of course, with cancer, I had learned a little bit about how cancer works in the body, but not in the detail that I went into while I was healing. Like, I really, really dove deep into learning how cancer works in the body and how it develops and how it like grows and how you can deal with it, how to fight it pretty much. And that's.
So I'm thinking just kind of like also putting in perspective that maybe like questions that our listeners might have, like, did you ever try anything that didn't work and like kind of like backfired on you? Because you're just kind of learning as you're going, and you're kind of almost like your own test dummy, right? Because you don't really know if you're gaining the knowledge while you're having the experience. So did you ever do something where it was like, oh, that did not sit well with me, I'm not going to do that again?
Nothing really comes to mind, because I really, really follow like my intuition, and I really follow, like, I listen to my body. I'm like, okay, so energetically, am I leaning? Like, do you know dowsing? So I douse as well. And I really just...
Let's explain what it is though for our listeners. Go ahead and tell them.
Well, dowsing, you use a pendulum, and you can ask it questions, and energetically it'll go towards yes or no, and in alignment to your body and what feels and connects right with your body. And so I did that, but I didn't just rely on that, because sometimes you can sway it based on, what you want it to be, So I didn't just rely on that. I relied just on my intuition and my own body. And I always ask my body, how does this feel in my body? Does it feel right? Am I honoring it in alignment with what's working with what's going to work with my body?
So it's like constantly tapping into higher guidance, like always like, okay, this like ego step aside. What do we from the higher perspective need to do right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so just listening and learning, and I just followed that. I mean, I think with plant medicine, it's not going to harm you. I mean, of course, if you take too much, your body could reject it, but it's not going to like kill you. It's not going to harm you in a way like
pharmaceuticals. You can OD and die.
Yes. Yeah. So for me, just listening to my body and following with that. Yeah.
Okay. So how long did it take you to heal? How long did this work?
Yeah. So the funny thing about it being in your lymph nodes, the only way to really test, of course, I did CT scans to check if any tumors were growing, and it wasn't. But like the way to test is through biopsy. And I didn't want to go through that where they have to, get into your body, take lymph nodes and test them. So the other way that I tested was there's this test that you could send your blood work to Germany, and they test for circulating tumor cells.
And did you just find this?
No. The where I went to do my intravenous, which is a naturopathic doctor.
Okay.
They knew about this.
And that's the vitamin C thing, the vitamin C injection. Okay.
I had actually heard about this test through a friend of mine, and then when I went to do the IV at the naturopath, because that's where you need to do it. Like I can't inject myself. So a nurse could do it, but I didn't know any nurses at the time. And so I went to the naturopathic doctor, and she would do the vitamin C for me. And they had this test available where they would take your blood, send it to Germany, and it costs $500. It's very expensive. But that's how they would check what your levels are in terms of circulating tumor cells in your body. We all have circulating tumor cells in our body. We all do. We all have cancer in our body.
What?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. We all have cancer in our body. It's whether or not it grows, whether or not it develops into something that, you have to worry about.
Yeah. It gets out of hand. Yeah.
Right. So when you do this test, the normal range is between 1 and 2 million. That is normal range. So if you did this test today and you had 1 million, you're fine. Even though it shows that you have cancer cells in your body, it is fine. That is normal. When it goes above that, that's when you have to be concerned. That's when you know that you have cancer in your body. So when I first did the test, I had over 10 million in my body.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's what my numbers were at. So when I first started this journey, that's how I knew.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's how I was going to gauge where I'm at instead of doing the biopsy. And of course, CT scans every 6 months I was doing, and the colonoscopy as well. Just to check for the tumors. But on a cellular level, like on the lymph nodes, the only way to check is either by the biopsy, like I said, or doing this test.
This is there's so many layers. Like this is so
it is a journey.
Holy mackerel.
It really is an intricate journey. Like, when I tell people like, this is not just a quick, it is a journey. It really is. Yeah.
Wow.
And it changes you. It changes you.
Okay. So go on. You got the test.
So I got the test, and it was at 10 million when I started. And so every 6 months I would do the test. Actually, no, I did it every 3 months because I was doing this like intricate, healing that I needed to know if it was working or not. And the numbers were going lower and lower and lower. And then finally at a year and a half, I got to 1.2 or 1.3 million. Yeah.
Dude, badass.
Yeah. And that's when I knew, okay, I did it.
Oh my
I did it.
gosh. And you haven't had anything come back?
No, it's been over 5 years now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been over 5 years, and I continuously do the checks. Of course, it's important to check. That's one thing that, the Western medicine is good for, is to check, but they don't always know the right answers for you.
Wow.
Yeah. And a few things I wanted to add in there that I forgot to mention is rebounding. I jumped on a trampoline. I bought a little,
What?
yeah. I bought a little trampoline, the mini ones that you can keep in your home. And I jumped on that every day because it moves your lymph. And so when you move your lymph, it actually gets things flowing and nothing is stuck, and it's very healing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because I follow this girl on Instagram and she's like always sharing her jumping on this little trampoline, and I've never known. I'm like, what is she doing? Like, why is this a part of her everyday practice?
Yeah. It's detoxing and it just moves your lymph. It gets things flowing.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I need to get a little trampoline.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just jumped on that, put some music on and just jumped on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's it, really. Trying to remember if there's anything else that I forgot. There's just so much, and I'm not really good at this recording.
Yeah.
Stuff,
There's so many, it's so many layers. There's so many things to like, it's so intricate, like holy mackerel.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also cancer, it's not just like the flu or something. Like you gotta really.
Yeah. And the mindset that I really entered with was, okay, I'm ready to die. If it means that I'm going to die and be strong and healthy, I was ready for that. I let go of all fears. It actually taught me not to be afraid to die. Before this, I was afraid to die. And I really...
A true spiritual awakening.
Seriously, like I really came to the point where I was like, okay, I can't be afraid of dying.
Right.
What's the worst that can happen? Okay, so I'm just going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to be ready for this.
Next life. Like, we'll figure it out.
Next. Yeah. Because I was so strong in like doing this naturally. I didn't want to go through this. I've seen people, I've witnessed people go through chemo, and it is not pleasant. There's a lot of suffering, lots of pain, lots of sickness with that. And actually during my journey, I was actually meeting other people that were going through cancer, that were doing vitamin C therapy with me, but they were also doing chemo.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
so kind of like a blend of the two?
Yeah, you can do a blend of the two for sure. But she had the same cancer as me, and unfortunately she didn't survive. And at that point, like I really had to work through feelings of guilt of like, why am I surviving this and she didn't? Like, why did I survive this and she didn't, And I had to really move through those emotions of like losing people that were going through the journey with me. Especially the same cancer. She did chemo and I didn't, and she didn't survive.
Wow.
And so again, it could be a number of things. It could be that chemo just was not the answer for her,
right?
Or it could be, that her body rejected it, and
right.
Or maybe she didn't believe in it. Like sometimes our belief system is so strong that what you believe is going to work. You know? And so it could be so many things, but yeah, I just had to move through that guilt and process and work through that feeling as well. That that I survived and others weren't at that time.
Yeah, just sending a little blessing for her life here, sharing it. Yeah,
for sure. Like it's just you feel it deeply.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
that is like definitely a transformational life experience.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you can think of that you want to share?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, when I ask myself or ask Source, like, why did this show up for me? And it really is part of my work. It really is my purpose to assist and help others with, things that they're going through, and not necessarily only cancer. It could be anything. It's how do you deal with what's been given to you or what's been handed to you in your life? Like, how do you deal with it? Can you deal with it powerfully? And can you transcend past all the crap that you're going through? And can you use the tools that you learn through this journey, through this healing journey, into something powerful, for your life? Or are you going to allow it to take over you and really are you going to wallow in self-pity? Are you going to let it take you down emotionally and mentally? Where are you at? How are you going to deal with this? And what are you going to do with it? Is really the end
This
game.
makes my heart blossom. It does. It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I know that this was it's kind of elbowing, pushing you to get out here, but I'm really, really grateful. Yeah. I'm super grateful. And I'm really hoping that this story helps others. I think it's important. And I think we all need to talk about holistic healing more and the power of our earth and what she has for us. There's so much. Oh, and also just to throw in there, you said grounding too. You said grounding. Yeah. I remember in a previous conversation that you said grounding helped a lot through your cancer experience. But yeah, it seems like there's so many things. There's so
many things. It is just a mind, body, spirit journey.
Yeah.
It truly is.
All the way around.
All healing is.
Yeah.
Right? Some people think, I'm just going to heal my body, but then they're not working on their mind or their spirit, right? It's all connected. You can't do one without the other.
Right. It's kind of like how Joe Dispenza talks about the brain and heart coherence.
Absolutely.
It takes mind, body, and spirit in order to have that brain and heart coherence aligned.
For sure.
It takes it all. And that's what creates your reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's choice too. We can choose to let this take over us and live in a depressed state, or we can choose to fight this powerfully and be strong and then use it for future things,
Yes. Boom, boom,
and thank you for having me, because this is my very first interview. I've had many ask me to interview me, but I'm very shy about video and audio and this kind of thing. I'm just not very good at it. I just don't like it. But you've helped me step out of my comfort zone. And I think because we're friends, you made me feel comfortable. And I feel like we're just sitting here having a conversation.
Yes.
So thank you.
Absolutely. I feel so honored.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and drop the links in the show notes so that way you can check out Annamaria and her work. I'll have her website and all of her social media links. Really, seriously, truly, you need to check out her stuff. She's an amazing, incredible human being. I'm so grateful to have her in my life. And just thank you guys for joining us today. I hope this episode touched you. I hope it helped you. And have a great rest of your week. And namaste. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and if this was impactful for you at all, please share it with others. This is how we can help each other. Much love and namaste.